Hi everyone, this is the tutorial of the part 1 of our step-by-step creation of a SAP UI5 CRUD application. In the previous tutorial we already created our application inside our SAP WebIDE full stack, and we have configured our application to use our destination that we have created on SAP Cloud Platform. In this part, I want to show you what's an OData service, and in particular, we're going to see the data service from our ABAP demo gateway and how you can use that service. We're going to talk about the protocol that is connecting our application and the service that is called OData. OData is an open source protocol and allows you to have a protocol to talk to our service. So we know, thanks to the OData, which are the attributes that are exposed by our service, which are the entities, what we can do with those entities, and which are the relationship between one entity and another. OData is open source, and you can check out the odata.org site. The latest version of the protocol is the version 4, but we are going to use only the version 2 because this is the one that is supported by our backend service. Inside odata.org you can see all the developers tutorial and the documentation and all the future features that are offered by this protocol, and some of these features will be shown on the next steps of the tutorial. So this is our service, and if you add $metadata to the end of the service URL, you can see what is called an XML manifest file. This is the only XML file that you will see in the project because the information will be to get and to post the information will be used a JSON format. In this case, the XML is really important because it has a structure and it's very verbose and it allows us to understand all these information that are important. As you can see inside the schema, you can see all the entity type. Each entity type object will describe the entity set and the properties that is inside an entity set, and you can see also that it will describe the complex type. For instance, a business partner will have a CT address complex type, and we also have the information for the complex type. But so it's important for many things, the XML, the metadata, to know which entity type are exposed by the service and which attributes you can see inside an entity type. And also the service will expose the associations. Association is something that describes the relationship that exists between one and another entity type. And also if you scroll down to the bottom of the file, you can also see the information inside the entity container that describe all the entity set and which is the name that you have to use to retrieve the set. So we're going to use the entity type business partner. I want to describe just what you can see inside the XML file, and we have a lot of information. For instance, we already know which is the key, the primary key of our entity type. This is that's the business partner ID. And inside the list of property, you can see that it says the name of the property, the type, in this case the address is a complex type, but for other properties you know that the business partner ID, for instance, is a string, is not nullable, and has a max length. And as you can see, it's really useful to know which type is and all other information, but for validation. So when the user input some information, you already know that that information must follow some rules, but it's also important when you are going to post these maybe a new business partner to the server, and you have to respect all these rules in order to create a new business partner on the server side. And so we have the key, we have the property, and we have another important thing, that the navigation property. Navigation property is an information that allows you to know that for each business partner you can reach some other information connected to it. In this case, we have a navigation property to the sales, to the contacts, and to the products. And each navigation property is described by the relationship. And if you scroll down, for instance, we're going to see if I can find it, the information about the business partner and the sales object. Okay, here we go. So this is the part that describes the navigation property relationship. And as you can see, we have a relationship between the business partner object and the sales order object. And this type of association is one to many. So for each business partner, we have many sales order that is connected to it. And this is important because you know the relationship type, and you can say to the data server that when the protocol give me a business partner, I want also to have all the sales object that is connected to this business partner inside my response. So this is just an overview. The metadata file offers a lot more information, and you can check out by yourself, but this is important just for our example, because in our example, in the first step, I want you to create a business partner table. So our application will render a business partner table, and for each, as you can see, we have a lot of columns. We have the partner information, the address, the website, the email, the phone, and the created that. And so what you have to do is to go bind the table to the business partner set and retrieve all the information that we saw inside the entity type and bind them to the table. Something that is important I want to show you is that SAPUI5 is a mobile first framework. What does it mean? It means that you have to think at mobile first. So the design that you are going to create will be for the mobile phone, and then you have to think and recreate the same and shape the design for the tablet and for the desktop, because our primary target is the mobile. And SAPUI5 offers a lot of resources and features to handle this flexibility on the mobile pattern. And for instance, in this case, I want you to have different design if we are going to see this application on the smartphone, tablet, or desktop. If you open up, clicking on your keyboard the F12, you open the Chrome Developer Tool. And if you click on Toggle Device Toolbar, this is something that allows you to recreate the same design for smartphone, for tablet, or for a custom resolution. In this case, as you can see, that we are on a Pixel 2 XL, and as you can see, we have only one column. Just because I say to the table that I want to show all of the most important information when we are on the smartphone, because I cannot show 5 different columns because the resolution is not so big. So I say I want only to see the information about the partner, the name and the ID, but I want also to show the address because it's important. But as you can see, the address is not in a column. This is something that is called demand pop-in. and is a property of the table. And you can check it out on the SAPUI5 documentation. But if we switch to an iPad, so to a tablet, as you can see, I say to the table that I want to show both the partner and the address column. So the address is not anymore inside the partner column, but is a second different column. If we close the developer tool, we are back to the desktop design, and in the desktop we have a lot of more space, so I can show all the columns. And this is something important because you have always to think which is the most important information that I want to show on a smartphone, and then you have to think what I want to show on the tablet and then on the desktop where you have more space. And another important thing that I want you to see, the last column is the created at, that show when this business partner has been created on the server side, and you can see we have already formatted this information. And this is important because the created at is a JavaScript date. So when you print directly a JavaScript date, it will be printed in the full format. For instance, if we go to the console and we clear it up, and we do console.log new date, this is the string that will be printed inside our created at column if we don't format it. So it's really long, and all this information is not required and are not something important to the user. The user just wants to know which is the date and the time that this information has been created. So I already said in the blog post, but I will show you in the code as soon as it refreshes it. If you go inside the view, you can see that this is our table. This is not the purpose of the course to show you the result. I just want to show you that you have to use the date time type for the text, and you can say that to this type that you want to format the rendered date with the medium style. If you check out the documentation about the datetime type, you can see that you have more options, and you can also define your custom pattern to show maybe just the date or maybe just the time, or to order the pattern in a different way. So it's always important to know what you can do, and as I already said in the post, you have to use all the resources that SAP has created and has open sources with us. So the documentations, the sample, the app reference are your friends, and you have always to use it to better understand how you can use all the features offered by the framework. So this is the final result of the first part of our step. And if you want, you can check out the GitHub project, and you can switch to the step 1 branch, and there you have the source code of the finished step 1. So you can compare my code to your code to understand if you have done everything correctly. And see you later the next week with the step 2 of the project. Bye.